Okay. Bro, for real? Oh, maybe that's what it was. Yeah. So the input, so the sound I can't fix, but this I can. All right. So what's a better habit that I could put there? I mean, did I do that for the first 10 hours? No way. I definitely did not do that. Um. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll say workout. Yeah, I'll say workout. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Oh, okay, so like, okay. Alright, so some like some how would you say, motherfucker, bitch, cunt, motherfucker, bitch, cunt, motherfucker, bitch, cunt. So it's like the fellow rate, the fellow rate, the follow rate, 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 the follow rate, rate. Alright, so I'll just say like one probably main thing that I could take away from that shit was Like, one main thing what you can probably say is like, something along the lines of, something along the lines of alright, I'm just gonna say like if a proposition is represented by a variable, then when that same proposition is used later in the argument, it must be represented by the same variable. That was like an interesting little shindig. Again? Oh, I must watch that short. I could add it to my I don't really care though. Do we really care?
Toyota Camry. If you can please give me a call back at 301-973 Or whatever.
Oh, I don't agree with that. That's not my view.
We might just need to go over it and over it, but like, why would we say that you're not having any impact on utility if you're not the case that tips the scale or whatever?
Oh, I don't agree with that. That's not my view. So I don't think that if you're, I don't think that if you're the, what they're trying to say, so first of all, no, I don't agree that just because you're not the tip the scale that you don't have the effect on utility. But what they're trying to say is that if you are not the person who tips the scale, that's just something that they're asserting. This is just a different line of pushback. This is saying, okay, even assuming that's true, it's still not clear that you can show that you're not actually going to do it.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just raising this separate point because something seems fucked about that line of thinking. Like,
oh, well, let me just ask you this. Like, let's just say that somehow you knew, right? Somehow you knew that if you were like the 7th person out of 10, and if you didn't participate, for whatever reason, someone else would have taken your place and participated in your place, and the same number of thresholds would have been met. In that hypothetical, do you think a consequentialist would care whether you engage or not engage?
No, obviously not. But why are we saying that's the situation that we're dealing with when you buy a product?
Oh, that's a great question. No, I don't believe that's the situation we're in. They would say even if like someone else doesn't take your place, even I'll just say for some whatever reason.
But wait, I still want to say, sorry, what fucks with me is, it seems like I can't get out of my head that you're still morally responsible if you contribute to the threshold being met. It doesn't matter if you're the edge case or not. It's like you're still putting money into the pot, and that pot of money is what causes the suffering.
Even if had you not put money into that pot, it would have happened.
That's the move that's fucked. Why is that fucked? It might be because you're selecting a specific possible world as the one to look at. Like you're going, either there's the world where you do it, or there's the world where you don't. And it's like, well, it's a proper subset of the world where you don't, where like a difference is made, right? Let me think about this, because the whole idea is like if other people do it with you, like it will make a difference. There'll be one less threshold then, right? But I guess you even try to say it on the way down. You try to say unless, like, it doesn't matter if you're unless you're the guy who ticked the threshold up, you didn't do anything bad, and unless you're the guy who ticked the threshold down, you didn't do anything good, right?
Yeah, it would be symmetrical. Whatever base you make for the up, you would make for the down.
Yeah, but there's something fucked about saying that nothing would change about the amount of suffering if you don't buy the.
It's just the argument that they make with respect to the modern supply chain. Right? It doesn't make, that's what the other analogies don't make sense. I'm just
no, but even I don't care about that. No, not to be.
Wait. He's talking about a principle. He's talking about a principle level of mind fuckery, not the empirical or pragmatics.
Yeah, that's all beside the point. The core.
Okay, I thought you said purchasing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's something like it's the fact that you exist continuously over time. You have a sense of yourself.
And even if you were to demonstrate this, it wouldn't be enough to make the claim that lockdowns work in general. What you would have really shown is that in some corner, in some 1% of the world population, and even if you were to demonstrate corner of Europe, something may have worked for a moment. Now, if you want to ask the more general question and the more important socially speaking, it is whether the lockdowns that have been implemented everywhere have been implemented properly. And my answer to this is no, because, and we can do it on the basis of no comparison to Sweden at all. We can make it on the basis of it.
Okay, so I've got some good people here with me. I've got Jack, Bryn, Detroyer, Doorman, Mal, Pasadenas. We're going to watch over some of Detroyer's debate with Jay Dyer. We're doing it watch together so people can just pause and comment whenever they want. I'll probably not get through the whole thing, it's pretty long, but with that said, just going to switch over scene and we'll get into it.
Or if everybody came in. All right, everyone, so today we're going to be doing, or tonight, we're going to be doing a debate between Jay Dyer and Detroyer on whether or not God exists. I appreciate everyone coming, obviously, like Jay and Detroyer, thanks for coming on. We don't have a lot of these anymore. So I guess I'll start. If Jay wants to just give a short introduction, people might not know who you are, like what you do, what you believe, what you're about, stuff like that.
Yes, I do jaysanalysis.com. I'm a student of philosophy and theology, cover a lot of movies, geopolitics, do a lot of goofy comedic type of stuff as well, and I do a lot of debates. So I come from a Orthodox Christian perspective. I've been through a few different religious views. I was raised a Protestant, got into Roman Catholicism, and then studied a lot of Platonism and Neoplatonism, and then got into Orthodoxy in my 30s. So I'm here to argue in favor of the existence of the Triune God, the validity and coherence of the presuppositional argument, and the coherence of the Christian worldview. I think it's the only worldview that really gives a grounding for what we could call a worldview. So that's my position.
All right, and Detroit, if you could just do the same, just give a short little introduction on what you're about and what you're going to be defending or arguing for tonight.
Sure. I'll just start by saying briefly, thanks for hosting this discussion, and thanks, Jay, for taking it part. I'll just say briefly that I have
This is not the topic of the question isn't whether lockdowns have been implemented properly. The question is whether, based on the available evidence, we can conclude that a lockdown decreases total mortality.
Well, my statement is we cannot affirm that most lockdowns have decreased mortality. The lockdowns that were implemented, is what's important to distinguish. I'm not saying lockdowns in theory. I'm saying the lockdowns that were implemented, I don't have solid evidence that they have decreased. Demonstrate this, it wouldn't be enough to make the claim that lockdowns work in general. What you would have really shown is that in some corner, in some 1% of the world population, in some corner of Europe, something may have worked for a moment. Now, if you want to ask the more general question and the more important socially speaking, it is whether the lockdowns that have been implemented everywhere have been implemented properly. And my answer to this is no, because, and we can do it on the basis of no comparison to Sweden at all. We can make it on
just
the basis.
tangential to
This is not the topic of the question isn't whether lockdowns have been implemented properly. The question is whether, based on the available evidence, we can conclude that a lockdown decreases total mortality.
Well, my statement is we cannot affirm that most lockdowns have decreased mortality. The lockdowns that were implemented. So it's important to distinguish. I'm not saying lockdowns in theory. I'm saying the lockdowns that were implemented, I don't have solid evidence that they have decreased mortality.
Okay, so that also was not the debate proposition. So the debate proposition wasn't the lockdowns the specific lockdowns that were implemented decreased total mortality. The debate proposition was, do lockdowns decrease total mortality?
Well, if you want to know if wrapping yourself into a saran wrap will keep you from catching virus, I have no doubt that there's a certain thickness of saran wrap that will work. The problem is that it will also kill you. So I don't see how the question of the debate can be anything else than the lockdowns that were implemented, since they were the only one we could implement. Harsher or longer lockdowns would have been unsustainable and would have caused even more death, most likely, through other systems like depression, suicide, and stuff like this.
But that's all going to be subsumed in the all-cause mortality regardless. So let's just start with the data set that we do have, because here's the thing, we don't have a lot of countries that have not locked down. We have Sweden that didn't have a mandatory lockdown. I don't know any other countries. So that's why we're comparing Sweden to other Nordic countries.
But there are several states of the U.S.
There are several states of the U.S. Which state of the U.S. had a actual lockdown where they banned travel, where they, you had cross-state travel throughout. I mean, I'm not aware of...
In general, in the U.S., there are 9 states that are recognized, and it includes South Dakota and a handful of others that are recognized as having very soft lockdowns or no lockdowns at all. And the rest of the states have had relatively harsh lockdowns in terms of cutting out businesses, cutting out most public activities, cutting out concerts and stuff like this.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, if we can adjust that for the covariates, totally cool, and we can go through that analysis. I don't have that analysis here, and I suspect you don't either. But again, here's the problem. The problem is going to just be recurring, JF. Look, there have been states that have locked down. There have been states that haven't locked down. There are a whole bunch of different covariates that are going to confound whether you can infer whether a lockdown works or not. Now, the best way is to adjust for either to include everything in the data set and have a robust way of adjusting for the covariates, or if you don't have that analysis, the second best thing is to just go for the states that are most similar in covariates or countries that are most similar in covariates and look between ones that did and did not lock down. Now, I'm presenting to you an analysis between Sweden and the countries that are most similar to Sweden by the overwhelming metrics of the relevant covariates being pre-existing conditions, whether it's COPD, whether it's cancer rates, whether it's heart disease, whether it's life expectancy, whether it's life expectancy per GDP. You can look at those things, and the summation of that is just Sweden is really most similar to the other Nordic countries. Yes, that decreases your population size. It decreases your data set. I don't see how that also explains why, if you add up all the all-cause mortality of all the Nordic countries other than Sweden put together per capita, you still don't touch the toes of Sweden's deaths per capita. Now, if you want to say more countries should be added, that's fine. Show me which other countries you think should be added, and we can go through the covariates. It's not a problem.
I don't even know that countries need to be added to your analysis. I think that we can reach an answer even without a comparison to Sweden. And here's how we do. So you recognize that COVID has been creating a wave of excess mortality that is bigger than what we have, at least in the last few years. In fact, there are some maniacs out there on social media that say that it's the virus of the century. So we have a virus that has induced a bigger wave than most of the things we've been confronted to, at least in the last 5 years in Europe. Now, we look at waves like the UK. A big wave, UK, England, I see a big wave of excess mortality. In fact, more intense than the one we see even in Sweden. But let's leave the comparison to Sweden aside. I see this big wave of excess mortality, and you are telling me that lockdowns have worked enormously, that perhaps they even may reduce the excess death by a factor of 4 to 5 fold what we got. So
And then will be. So recently I shot a video called 10 Things to Do Before You Become an Entrepreneur. And one of the points was learning how to research, because in the world of business, there's a lot of research you're going to have to do. Here's why: because the better you are at gaining the information to make a sound decision, minimizes risks, increases return, which is exactly what you want as a business owner, because it gives you a longer span to be in business. So today, I'm going to explain to you how I research. I've been researching for a very long time and eventually even get better at this game. But it's very, very important. By the way, there's 3 different reasons why people typically will do research. One of them will be for pure fun and entertainment. For instance, we're at a restaurant last night in Miami. It's 10:30 at night. All of a sudden, conversation comes up about the greatest basketball player of all time. Nick Nowitzki's going to make money off this. That's for entertainment. That's just for talk. The second research we do is for self-education. I want to know more because I want to be educated for me. This is not, let me express my point why I believe Tom Brady is the greatest, not Joe Montana, whatever that debate is. Self-education, I'm just going to for myself. Number 3 reason why you and I will do research is we want to make a better decision. Marriage, business, whatever it is. Finances, we want to make a better decision. So know which levels of research there is out there. Having said that, let me get into how I process my own way of researching things. Number 1, choose the topic. What's the topic? Marriage. Buy real estate or rent a home. Politics, sports, whatever it is, move. When we wanted to move to Texas, that's our topic. We want to move to Texas. Why do we want to move to Texas? So that's the topic. Step number 2, what are you solving for? What are you solving for? For instance, I'll give you an idea what I mean by this. Let's just say you are thinking about real estate. Well, what are you solving for? Are you solving for income? You want to have a long-term income, so you want to buy properties, you have a lot of income for 20, 30 years from now because you own all these, properties. Is it for flip because you want to buy and sell and make short-term money? Is it equity? Is it partnership? Is it to go into business with somebody because you want to figure out a way to do other business with them long-term? What are you solving for? So that's the first question you got to ask yourself on that. What are you solving for sports? This is for kicks. Let's just say...
Please leave your message for 443.
Hey, let's figure out who...
93957.
Okay. He said you can either do research for entertainment for yourself or to make better decisions. Cool. Okay. So oh fuck. Fuck me, Ditto. Fuck me, Ditto. Copy. Scripts. Okay. Alright, let's get some tunes on. I mean, we gotta leave in like 30 minutes-ish, 25 minutes-ish. We can get some stuff in here. So... I mean, Loki, did you want to come down here, brother? Sure, so. Fuck. Bitch. God. Okay, one way to improve your approach is by learning about other approaches. My approach is included in other approaches. You should care. Earrings. Almost not true. Trust me. Personally tested.